As Chrysler service technicians, you've been using the DRBIII scan tool for quite some time now, and you've probably found that it's an invaluable tool for diagnosing a wide range of vehicle problems. In fact, it would be pretty hard to imagine trying to make many types of diagnoses without using the DRBIII, wouldn't it? Well, don't worry, the DRBIII isn't going away. On the contrary, with the capabilities that the new multifunction peripheral expansion port module has added, you'll be using the DRBIII more than ever. The Peripheral Expansion Port, or PEP module, and accessory kit are essential tools that need to be installed immediately to support 1997 and later model year diagnostics. This month's MasterTech program will take you through an overview of the PEP module and its accessory kit to acquaint you with the new items and capabilities. We'll also look at the reasons behind this increased diagnostic capability, as well as walk through the upgrade procedure with the DRBIII. Then we'll take a closer look at each of the features of the multifunction PEP module, including the new digital pressure tester and the functions of the new dual-channel lab scope. We'll also cover the Viper Inclinometer interface and the OTC 5-gas exhaust analyzer interface. So get your DRBIII ready, because the industry's best diagnostic scan tool just got better. If your dealership hasn't already received the PEP module kit by the time you watch this MasterTech program, it will be arriving shortly. Each dealer will receive one PEP module and accessory kit for the first DRBIII that they've purchased in the past. If the dealership has more than one DRBIII, for each additional scan tool, it will get only a PEP module. Additional accessory kits are available under a separate part number. The PEP module is an essential tool for all DRBIIIs sold in the past, including those in dealerships, fleet service, engineering departments, and colleges and universities. In addition to the PEP module, the accessory kit contains all the components you'll need to utilize the enhanced capabilities of the DRBIII. There are input and extension cables, transducers, and pressure fitting assemblies that are used with the digital pressure tester feature. For the dual-channel lab scope function, the accessory kit contains input cables, adapters, a ×10 cable and probe, and 2 pairs of test leads. The remaining contents of the PEP module accessory kit include a DRBIII power cable, instruction manuals, and the toolbox itself. Let's go over the features of the PEP module. The first thing you notice about the module is its compact size. Once installed, the PEP module will not change the look or feel of the DRBIII. The primary feature of the PEP module is its 4 megabytes of memory. This gives the DRBIII a total of 5 megabytes of ROM, or read-only memory, that can be flash reprogrammed. Another feature of the PEP module will minimize the need to manually adjust the contrast of the DRBIII screen. The module contains an internal thermistor that measures the temperature of the DRBIII's LCD display and adjusts the contrast to compensate for changes in temperature. You won't notice this automatic contrast adjustment while using the DRBIII, but it will be one less thing to worry about while diagnosing vehicle problems. We'll go over the diagnostic features of the multifunction PEP module in greater detail later in the program. Now let's discuss why the PEP module was added to the DRBIII. There are plenty of reasons behind the addition of the PEP module to the DRBIII. One of the major factors was the need for more memory to support diagnostics for 1997 and later model years. The original 1 megabyte of flash memory was taken up by 1994 to 1996 diagnostics. Due to increased diagnostic capabilities, OBD2 required 15 to 20% more memory, taken up by a healthy increase in the number of diagnostic trouble codes. The OBD2 monitors also took up plenty of space in the DRBIII's original 1 meg of flash memory. The addition of more onboard control modules, as well as OBD2 help text, both added to the memory taken up in the DRBIII. The addition of generic scan tool support also increased the amount of memory used by the DRBIII. in addition to ISO 9141K line, which is for Chrysler and MMC generic support. The PEP module accommodates the J1850 bus single wire, which is used by General Motors, the J1850 dual wire, used by Ford, and the ISO 9141K and L line, which is used in Europe. This enables dealers to use the DRBIII on competitive OBD2 vehicles in their used car lots. The DRBIII with PEP module is also planned to be used as an interface between the next generation MDS and the vehicle. This should also increase the functions allowed by the next MDS. Now we can get down to installing the PEP module and upgrading the DRBIII software so we can put it to use. You must have the PEP module installed on the DRBIII in order to upgrade the scan tool to Release 20, although the PEP module can be used with the DRBIII prior to Release 20. If you try upgrading the DRBIII without the PEP module, the MDS will display a notice telling you that the PEP module must be installed before Release 20 can be loaded. The MDS won't allow you to proceed reprogramming the DRBIII with Release 20 until it sees that the PEP module is in place on the DRBIII. To install the multifunction PEP module, remove the blank module and align the PEP unit on the DRBIII guide rails. Then be sure to seat the module firmly into the scan tool. Once in place, you should never remove the PEP module because the DRBIII won't function without it. As for the blank module you've removed, dispose of it properly. Once the PEP module is installed on the DRBIII, you can upgrade the software as you normally would. We'll be using the different functions of the DRBIII and PEP module in the upcoming segments. But first, check out this review question. True or false? The PEP module should only be installed on the DRBIII for using the dual-channel lab scope and digital pressure tester functions. The correct answer is false. Once the PEP module is installed on the DRBIII, it is used for all functions of the DRBIII, and you should never remove it. The multifunction PEP module brings with it the ability to view digital pressure data on the DRBIII. This eliminates the need for long pressure hoses and mechanical gauges during on-road pressure and vacuum testing. With the digital pressure tester and optional accessories, you can analyze pressure data from up to 6 different test points at once. All pressure data is displayed on the DRBIII simultaneously, which facilitates signal analysis and comparison. This data can also be recorded during on-road pressure testing and played back at a later time, which is easier than the old method of trying to view data while driving. The transducers for the digital pressure tester are color-coded according to their test pressure ranges. The green transducer is used for low pressure, the blue for medium, and the red for high. The low-pressure transducer has a pressure test range of 30 inches of vacuum to 15 psi. This transducer should be used for things like reading engine vacuum and evaporative system leak detection, among others. The low-pressure transducer can also be used with the exhaust back pressure fitting to check for exhaust restrictions. If your kit has a back order tag like this one, the transducer will be shipped to your dealership by this fall. The test range for the medium pressure transducer is between 0 and 500 psi. This is the transducer you'll probably use most often. This general purpose transducer can be used for fuel delivery, R12 air conditioning, and engine oil pressure. You'll find the digital pressure tester with the medium pressure transducer especially handy for pressure analysis on the 41TE transaxle, which has 6 pressure ports, and the 42LE transaxle, which has 7 different points where pressure can be checked. Rear-wheel drive vehicles have 4 places on the transmission where you can check pressure readings with the DRBIII digital pressure tester. The test range for the high-pressure transducer is up to 5,000 psi. You might notice that the hose on the high-pressure transducer reads 3,000 psi max. Since there is no brake system on Chrysler vehicles that exceeds 2,000 psi, the use of this transducer on hydraulic brake systems is well within its safety limits. However, You should only use this transducer on systems that contain either DOT3 or DOT4 brake fluid. And be sure to heed the warning labels attached to the transducers that tell you to release system pressure when installing and removing the pressure fittings. In addition to the transducers, the accessory kit contains a variety of pressure fittings, allowing the pressure tester to be used in most applications. Now let's take a look at the other items in the accessory kit and see how they're used with the digital pressure tester. The 6-input cable connects to the PEP module at the connector that is marked PSI. Be sure to tighten the thumb screws to properly seat the cable in the connector. A 12-foot extension cable that is supplied in the accessory kit connects to the keyed head of the 6-input cable. If you're testing more than one pressure port, you'll need another extension cable. Connect the appropriate pressure transducer to the extension cable using the amp connector. Then select one of the pressure fittings from the kit. A fitting that connects to the leak detection pump service port is used with the low pressure transducer for leak detection, pump diagnosis, and analysis. When checking engine vacuum, use the reducer that is supplied with the low pressure transducer. You will have to remove the reducer in order to attach the exhaust back pressure fitting. Use the Schrader valve quick connect assembly with a medium pressure transducer if you want to read fuel pressure. You'll need to use a 90-degree adapter along with the Schrader valve assembly to check fuel pressure on LH vehicles with 3.5-liter engines. This adapter is not in the accessory kit, but will be shipped separately. A variety of fittings are used with the medium transducer for checking transmission fluid and engine oil pressure. For rear-wheel drive transmissions, there is a straight 1/4-inch quick connect assembly and a 45-degree adapter. For front-wheel drive transaxles, use the straight 1/8-inch quick connect assembly or the 90-degree assembly. The straight 1/8-inch quick connect assembly is also used with adapters purchased locally to check oil pressure on most Chrysler domestic vehicles. A British thread oil pressure fitting is only used on Chrysler 2.2 and 2.5-liter engines and the 2.6-liter MMC engine. The high-pressure transducer has a fitting permanently attached for checking a vehicle's braking system pressure. The digital pressure tester can be used wherever your diagnostic procedure calls for using a mechanical gauge to check pressure. Let's go over how to use this new feature of the DRBIII and PEP module. First, you need to connect the 6-input cable to the DRBIII. Connect the cable to the port on the PEP module that is marked PSI. Connect the extension cable to the input head and attach the transducer you're using to the extension cable. Be sure you're using the proper transducer for the pressure port you want to read pressure from. Then install the appropriate pressure fitting on the vehicle's pressure port. If appropriate, be sure to release system pressure before installing the pressure fitting. From the DRBIII main menu, select DRBIII Standalone. Then select Digital Pressure Gauge. This will bring you to the Digital Pressure main menu. From this menu, select Live Data, and the Live Data setup screen will appear. From here, you can choose different options for each input with the arrow keys. And by pressing Enter, you can cycle through such options, such as pressure range for each input, the delta or change between an input's readings, and the screen update rate. With the transducer reading atmosphere, you should zero all the sensors by pressing the F4 Zero All key. Then connect the transducer to the pressure fitting you installed on the vehicle. There are 4 live data modes in which the pressure data is displayed. The normal mode shows a bar graph and the current pressure reading. The min-max mode shows the minimum and maximum pressure values, as well as the current pressure reading. If you want to see the change between the current reading and future readings, the delta mode will show a bar graph of the reading plus the difference between the original and current pressure value. You can change the input mode by selecting the input with the arrow key, then pushing the appropriate F key. If you're checking pressure during a road test, it's best to record the information and play it back when you return. To begin recording, press F4 at the live data display. Press F4 again to stop recording. As long as no other event is stored, there is a recording capacity of at least 30 minutes. When you return from the road test, you'll be able to review the event you recorded on the DRBIII just as it happened. From the digital pressure main menu, select Playback Pressure Event. The DRBIII will display a list of all events that have been recorded. Select the event you want to view with the arrow keys and press Enter. You can change the playback rate by pressing the right arrow key, and pressing the left arrow key will play the event backwards. Press Read/Hold to suspend a playback. Viewing a recorded pressure event is much easier than attempting to analyze data while driving down the road. By selecting Graph Events, then selecting an event and pressing Enter, you can also use the DRBIII to graph your recorded events. The DRBIII will graph up to 4 inputs. Add the inputs to the graph by pressing F2 and press F4 to remove an input from the graph. When you need to delete an event, select Delete Pressure Event from the Recorded Events menu. Then select the event to delete. Press Yes to confirm your selection to be deleted. I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of use out of the digital pressure tester when diagnosing vehicle problems. Before we look at the dual-channel lab scope, try answering another review question. What is the test range for the medium pressure transducer used with the digital pressure tester? A. 0 to 5,000 psi. B. 0 to 1,000 psi. Or C. 0 to 500 psi. The correct answer is C. The test range for the medium or blue pressure transducer is 0 to 500 psi. The multifunction PEP module now allows you to monitor component signals on the DRBIII with the dual-channel lab scope feature. This oscilloscope function of the DRBIII has 2 separate channels to allow simultaneous monitoring of 2 different component signals with a wide range of display options. The dual-channel lab scope has options such as automatic setup, which selects an appropriate waveform display according to the signal being monitored. The lab scope's trigger function sets conditions that must be met before a signal's waveform is displayed. The trigger is used to begin rewriting a repeating waveform in the same location on the screen. The cursor option measures the difference in voltage or time between 2 points on a waveform and displays the measured difference under a delta or change heading that updates as the cursor is moved. The dual-channel lab scope also offers some new capabilities in direct signal measurement that weren't available to you in the past. Without the PEP module, the DRBIII was not able to directly measure the signals of the crankshaft position sensor or the camshaft position sensor, making the diagnosis of intermittent dropouts of these components difficult. But now, with the PEP module, the DRBIII can directly measure each of these signals, or both simultaneously if desired. This facilitates the diagnosis of problems associated with cam and crankshaft sensor failures. The new lab scope feature also enables you to evaluate AC sine wave signals, such as the turbine speed sensor or output speed sensor signals on electronic automatic transaxles. Additionally, the AC sine wave setup will help you to monitor the signals from wheel speed sensors on vehicles equipped with anti-lock brakes. Let's take a look at the items in the PEP module accessory kit that are used with the DRBIII in the dual-channel lab scope mode. The SMB connectors on the top of the PEP module are labeled for easy hookup, and they're gold-plated for superior conductivity and corrosion resistance. The 2 scope input cables, 1 for each channel, are approximately 6 feet in length. The scope input cables connect to the SMB connectors with an audible click to let you know they're firmly seated. There are 2 cable-to-probe adapters in the accessory kit that attach to the scope input cables by means of twist-lock BNC connectors. The accessory kit also includes 2 pairs of test leads and alligator clips for use with the dual-channel lab scope. The test leads connect to the cable-to-probe adapters. If needed, the alligator clips screw onto the test leads for hands-free probing. When probing a sensor signal wire, be sure to use the red test lead and probe the wire close to the sensor to minimize any interference. If the DRBIII is plugged into the Chrysler diagnostic connector, you don't have to use the ground lead. But if the DRBIII is powered through the vehicle's cigarette lighter, use the black test lead on a good ground. For oxygen sensor signals and other sensitive circuits, a ×10 cable and probe are provided in the PEP module accessory kit. These 2 items must be used in place of the red test leads for oxygen sensor signals. You'll get corrupt data values if a different probe is used. Now let's go over the use of the dual-channel lab scope, which can be used for in-bay or road testing of various components. We won't go into too much detail because an upcoming MasterTech program will cover the lab scope in depth. To use the dual-channel lab scope, first connect the scope input cables to the PEP module. Then connect the cable-to-probe adapters to the other end of the scope input cables. Next, connect a red test lead to each adapter and, if necessary, a black test lead. If you want, connect the alligator clips as well. At the standalone main menu, select Dual-Channel Lab Scope. This will bring up the scope main menu. From it, select Live Data. You can view each channel's data as a scope display by pressing F2, or a meter display by pressing F4 when each channel is highlighted. You can also use both the scope and meter simultaneously for each channel. There are 10 options in the scope setup that let you look at various types of signal displays. Or you can choose the auto setup, which sets the appropriate voltage range, time base, and trigger for the selected signal. Use the test leads as you normally would, although now you can monitor 2 component signals at the same time. And remember, if you connected the DRBIII to the vehicle's diagnostic connector, you only need to use the red test lead when probing a component's connector. Always be sure to use proper back probe techniques to avoid damage to component connectors. There are several screen display options, including a separate channel split screen view that facilitates the comparison of 2 component signals. The signals can be recorded and played back in events, just like the digital pressure tester. You'll become quite familiar with the capabilities of the lab scope and will keep you informed of all enhancements to the DRBIII. Be sure to watch for this September's MasterTech that will be devoted to using the DRBIII's dual-channel lab scope feature for diagnosis. Before we move on, try to answer this review question. When using the dual-channel lab scope, you do not need to use the ground lead when the DRBIII is connected to A, the cigarette lighter, B, the Chrysler diagnostic connector, or C, both A and B. The correct answer is B. When the DRBIII is connected through the Chrysler diagnostic connector, you do not need to use the ground lead. As you've seen so far, the PEP module greatly increases the capabilities of the DRBIII scan tool. In addition to the digital pressure tester and the dual-channel lab scope functions, the DRBIII can now be used in conjunction with a couple of important tools. For you Dodge Viper dealers, the PEP module enables you to use the DRBIII as a display device for the Viper Essential Inclinometer tool. You should use the new multifunction PEP module in place of the inclinometer-only module that you may already have. As you might know, the Viper suspension was recently changed to aluminum components. The inclinometer attaches to the control arms. It is used to measure the front and rear caster of the new Viper suspension. The DRBIII becomes a display device when connected to the inclinometer through the powered serial port that is labeled INCL. The inclinometer can also be used to check the drive shaft angle or any other angle on other vehicles as well.
Remember, the DRBIII acts as a display device only. You must already have the 1996 Viper alignment tools. The DRBIII can also be used as a display for another important tool, the OTC 5-gas analyzer. The gas analyzer helps you to diagnose drivability and emission problems by measuring the levels of tailpipe exhaust gases. Determining which emission levels are too high or too low can point you towards the cause. The 5-gas analyzer samples the exhaust for levels of hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. The PEP module allows you to display this and record it on the DRBIII. The gas analyzer is connected to the DRBIII PEP module through the powered serial port that is marked EXH for exhaust. This is the same port that the inclinometer connects to. Of course, you must purchase the OTC gas analyzer separately through PSE, but having the DRBIII and PEP module reduces the overall cost by eliminating the need for a display device. The gas analyzer interface is accessed through the standalone main menu by selecting Exhaust Gas Analyzer. The gas analyzer will take a few moments to initialize. Then the gas analyzer main menu will appear. Now you can insert the exhaust sampling probe into the tailpipe as far as it will go. Make sure the tension wires on the probe are fully inserted into the tailpipe. Once you have the probe inserted in the tailpipe, you can begin using the gas analyzer to test the vehicle's emission levels. Selecting Data Display from the gas analyzer main menu will bring up the 3 display options. If you're using the RPM probe, you need to specify a couple characteristics before testing the exhaust emissions. Select Special Functions from the main menu, and then choose System Setup. At the System Setup menu, select Vehicle Specifics. From there, choose the appropriate fuel type. Under the Ignition Kind menu, select the ignition type for the vehicle you're working on. There are several different ways to view the data from the 5-gas exhaust analyzer. We'll show you a couple of them, but be sure to read the instruction manual that comes with the OTC gas analyzer unit. Start the vehicle's engine and allow the vehicle to reach operating temperature. Select Data Display from the gas analyzer main menu. From the list of options, choose the display type you wish to view. The exhaust gas live data display shows the emission data in bar graph and numerical form. It also gives you engine RPM and oil temperature values. It's important to remember that the NOx values displayed are invalid unless the vehicle is under load. The air-fuel ratio lambda screen displays the air-fuel ratio and the lambda value in numeric and graphic form. The lambda value indicates whether a mixture is rich or lean by dividing the actual air-fuel ratio by the stoichiometric ratio of 14.7 to 1. A lambda value of 1 is considered ideal for catalytic converter efficiency. Just like the data from the digital pressure tester and the dual-channel lab scope, the exhaust emissions data can be recorded and saved for later analysis. From any live data display, begin the recording by pressing F4. The screen will show the recording status and display the available recording time. To stop recording, press the F4 key on the DRBIII keypad. The exhaust gas event you recorded can be played back for in-depth analysis, which will be an important part of your diagnosis. There are many other ways to view the exhaust gas data with the DRBIII. Be sure to read the instruction manual that comes with the gas analyzer. Now take a shot at our last review question. The lambda value displayed by the gas analyzer indicates whether a mixture is rich or lean. What lambda value is considered ideal for catalytic converter efficiency? A, 0. B, 1. C, 14.7 to 1. The correct answer is B. A lambda value of 1 is considered ideal for catalytic converter efficiency. The PEP module for the DRBIII greatly increases its diagnostic ability.
But the key to successful vehicle diagnosis and service is still you, the highly trained service technician. That's all the time we have for this MasterTech program, but join us again next month.
Chrysler Corporation is now protecting more and more of its vehicles during transit and storage with CAT's 5075 transit coating. This unique new protective coating protects the entire vehicle from acid rain, rail rust, bird droppings, stone chips, and light scratching. Included with each vehicle will be a 24-ounce bottle of CAT's 8075 transit coating remover. Only this remover should be utilized when removing CAT's transit coating. Protection of the vehicle is only part of the benefit achieved when utilizing the CAT's protection system. Removal of the coating must also be accomplished easily so that vehicles can be decoated quickly, efficiently, and without touching the vehicles, so there is no danger of scuffing or scratching the paint. The CAT's 595 decoder gun is our latest innovation in transit coating removal. Designed for use with CAT's 5075 transit coating and 8075 remover, the CAT's 595 decoder gun eliminates the many disadvantages of traditional removal procedures. The CAT's 595 decoder gun provides the perfect combination of fast, efficient removal without the high cost of an automated car wash. It's small and easy to carry to the vehicle, so you don't need to drag a pump-up sprayer and pressure washer around. It eliminates hand washing, which can scratch or scuff paint. The CAT's 595 decoder gun is fast and efficient. A car can be washed in 8 to 12 minutes. There's no pre-dilution of chemicals, guaranteeing the proper dilution ratio every time. Other advantages include no mess, it's inexpensive, and there is no maintenance. Here is the simple short list of equipment needed to take advantage of this innovation in transit coating removal. The CAT's 595 decoder gun, CAT's 8075 remover, a water hose with 40 to 60 psi, and a chamois to dry the vehicle. We also recommend using safety equipment consisting of rubber boots, rubber gloves, and eye protection. To assemble the CAT's 595 decoder gun, place the red rubber washer in the end of the pistol grip sprayer. Next, screw the spray tip onto the end of the copper-colored spray unit. Slide plastic siphon tube onto the connector under the threaded bottle cap attachment. Attach the pistol grip sprayer to the copper-colored spray assembly using the brass-colored quick disconnect. Lastly, attach the 24-ounce bottle of CAT's 8075 over the plastic siphon tube and hook the garden hose up to the pistol grip sprayer. The CAT's decoder gun must remain upright to prevent product loss through the vent hole. The washing instructions are simple and easy to follow as well. Place the vehicle coated with CAT's 5075 transit coating in a shaded wash area. Do not pre-rinse the vehicle unless the skin temperature is above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Then it's always a good idea to cool the surface so that the remover solution doesn't evaporate too quickly. That can be accomplished by letting the vehicle sit in the shade or a quick pre-rinse with water. Spray the entire vehicle using the CAT's 595 decoder gun. Allow 3 minutes soak time minimum while keeping the entire vehicle wet with solution. Short squirts from the bottle will keep the vehicle wet while conserving remover solution. After the first 1 or 2 minutes, you can see and feel the transit coating being released from the vehicle's surface. Detach the bottle from the pistol grip sprayer using the quick disconnect. Thoroughly rinse the vehicle using the pistol grip sprayer. Remember, to pay particular attention to crevices, moldings, and other areas that can trap the solution. Finally, dry the vehicle to eliminate water spots. Inspect the vehicle for any unremoved coating. Runs and drips are very rare with CATS 5075, but if one is found, repeat the removal procedure on that area only. Now, let's review the procedure. Assemble CATS 595 decoder gun. Place vehicle in shaded area to allow vehicle skin temperature to cool to a maximum of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Do not pre-rinse the vehicle unless it has to be done to cool the skin temperature. Spray the entire vehicle with CATS 595 decoder gun and CATS 8075 remover. Allow 3 minutes soak time. Keep vehicle wet with short squirts of remover solution. Detach pistol grip sprayer using quick disconnect. Thoroughly rinse entire vehicle. Dry vehicle and inspect. Following these simple procedures will allow you to quickly and easily remove the transit coating while eliminating surface contact. Of course, this system is perfectly designed for use with CATS 8075 remover and CATS 5075 transit coating. This combination is safe and totally biodegradable. Do not use any other transit coating remover through the CATS 595 decoder gun. However, the 595 decoder gun and 8075 remover also work well for efficient removal of most acrylic-type transit coatings or general vehicle washing. Thank you for using the new CATS transit coating and removal system. For information or questions on this removal procedure, contact CATS Customer Service Department at this toll-free number. To order CATS 595 decoder gun, contact Chrysler Professional Service and Equipment and order the OT 595 decoder gun. To order additional CATS 8075 remover in 5 or 55-gallon containers, contact CATS Coatings at 1-800-445-4793. Contact Chrysler Mopar and order part number 4640808 for additional 24-ounce bottles.